Hey everyone, so I feel slightly vindicated from some other larger YouTube channels. Not that I matter or anything, but a high-ranking North Korean ambassador who has defected from North Korea has echoed exactly what I said should be done with North Korea. While conservatives and even some liberals have been advocating for preemptive strikes on North Korea, I have said this is a horrible idea for two reasons. The first is that China has clearly stated that if the US strikes first, then China will not allow us to implement a regime change. So in other words, a preemptive strike means a war with China, which would be an absolute nightmare scenario lasting years if not decades. It would decimate both economies and result in untold millions of deaths on both sides. Now, would the US win that war? Probably, but not without some astronomical consequences in terms of lives lost and monetary cost. That rhymed. Also, not to mention that on the flip side, China has also said that if North Korea strikes first, they will not give any support to the Kim Jong-un regime. That is, that the US, South Korea, and Japan are allowed to have a field day with North Korea, and North Korea knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that in a war with the US, South Korea, and Japan, they wouldn't last till next Tuesday. So North Korea will not be taking the first shot if they are at all concerned about their longevity. So I won't single anyone out, you probably know who they are, maybe, but there are plenty of big YouTube names that trump my subscriber count by tens of, if not hundreds of thousands, and they're doing the same pro-war routine we've all seen before, and to put it very lightly, I disagree with them. I think they're a bit off course. So the second reason we should not be doing preemptive strikes on North Korea, well, we don't actually need to because of the change in the culture within North Korea. And this goes along with what I mentioned at the beginning and the article on your screen right now. Tae Young-ho, a former high-ranking North Korean politician who has defected from North Korea, has stated that, quote, North Koreans don't care about state propaganda, but increasingly watch illegally imported South Korean movies and drama. He also stated that, quote, contrary to the official policy and wish of the regime, free markets are flourishing in North Korea. Finally, he says that these developments, quote, make it increasingly possible to think about a civilian uprising in North Korea as more and more people gradually become informed about the reality of their living conditions, end quote. And given the large amounts of North Korean defectors that had to bribe military members to leave, that seems to suggest that even members of their armed forces don't really take the regime all that seriously. And then Tae Young-ho goes on to say that because of these reasons, a preemptive military strike on North Korea will cause more problems than it solves. Now, this is exactly what I've said about North Korea before. The citizens there are growing more and more sick of the regime, and the regime's grip on the people is slipping, which is a highly probable reason why we see all this bravado coming from North Korea in the first place. North Korea is a one-trick pony. They sense their power is diminishing, so they ramp up tensions with the US, South Korea, or Japan. Then they turn up the rhetoric on their almighty superiority so their citizenry falls back in line. Well, it seems to be having diminishing returns now because due to the smuggling of so much outside news and information, the North Korean people see through the nonsense of the regime. So I'm not saying I don't like these other YouTube channels that call for preemptive strikes, but this is one of those issues where I feel a little bit alone in thinking that the saber rattling is purely an emotional and paranoid response. But a little sober thinking can clear that right up. Okay, so sorry for the deep nasally voice. I'm sick as hell. Thanks, Obamacare. I'm gonna go pass out. Bye.